Welcome back to Crying at the
Here we
Gym.
go.
It's our second episode. Thanks for being here.
We never mentioned, I know we're
Oh.
like, hey, we're Brooke and Lyze, and all of our follower know which is which, but I'm
And-
Brooke. No, I'm just lying. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brooke. When was the last time you cried?
Just put me right on the spot.
Yeah, sorry, I can go first.
I can cry now. No. Oh, do you know? Do you know what the?
Um,
You know the last thing you cried about?
yeah, it was Friday. It was like gym
That's like
related.
pretty
yeah.
long ago.
Yeah,
It
it was
is
like
not.
a whole like 48 hours.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
No, so the deadline to sign up for this weightlifting meet was Saturday. And I have not been making any of my percentages for like the past 2 months. And so I was like, okay, I need to go in and see if I actually know how to lift and like go from there. You saw my Instagram story?
Okay, I was gonna say, because I was
Yeah.
like, I saw that story and I was like, every time I see her smile in such a way, it's not really a happy thing. Like, it's kind of like it's like hysteria. And I was like, she's laughing. She's sad.
She's sad. No, and so the funniest part is like when I did laugh in that video, I made eye contact with Megan and she was like, "It's okay." From like she like mouthed it to me from across the room.
That's kind of worse sometimes. It's like when someone's like, you're about to like lose it, and they're just like, is everything okay? And I'm like, who sent you? Why would you ask me that? They're like, are
No.
you okay? And you're like,
No. Literally.
look away. Why? Why are you doing this?
Yeah. So I was like, I went in Friday and I was like, let me see if I can lift heavy and see if I can make it anywhere near where I'm supposed to open. I didn't.
Do we now have more information?
We do now have more information. I made it to 85%. So I'm like, I can't complain, but I also am like, I also can't go into this weightlifting meet in 2 weeks with this information that we have. So
You can change your expectation.
I just
be
didn't
like,
sign up.
participation award. You're like, no, instead I cried and didn't sign up, and that's so valid.
Yeah. I like thought about it heavily.
If it's
And I
gonna
was
not
like,
bring you
no.
value, if it's just gonna make you stressed and be like, I feel like I'm set up for failure and I'm not prepared and I don't want to do it. If you don't want to, then don't do it.
So I will I wanted to do this particular meet because of the people doing it,
Yeah.
but I'm just gonna show up and support and cry about the
Remember when
fact.
I wanted to do
yeah.
that too?
Yeah.
But I've broken like perhaps both of my wrists.
Oh
We'll
yeah, we
see.
did talk about you doing this one. Yeah. Well, I took it way up until the deadline last night at midnight, and then I texted Keisha and I was like, I don't think I'm signing up.
I was due for a quarterly injury, so I was like, ah. I'm so used to that though. I'm like, it is like the nature of being who I am as an athlete. I'm like, well, I didn't really warm up that much, and then I just like gave it all I got. I'm like
then
not
here we
even
are.
surprised. I'm not like, I can't believe this keeps happening to me. I'm like, well, yeah. In retrospect, probably not the best choices leading up to that.
It's like, oh my god.
That one was kind of a freak thing though. I was just like I
Yeah.
was feeling it on like a heavy clean that I haven't hit in a really long time. And I was like, cool. I was like, let's keep going. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, ow. And I was like, that hurt, but like a lot, but like I can keep going. And then I kept going. And now I'm like,
Ow.
so I'm not crying at the gym. I'm just crying around the gym. Like sometimes I enter and I'm like, hey. They're like, oh, what's wrong? I'm like, don't worry about that.
So when was the last time you cried?
Honestly, I'm feeling like, I'm feeling like it was a long time. It was definitely yesterday.
I thought you were gonna say I'm feeling emotional.
Well, I do feel yesterday.
You did push
I don't think I think I could. I was.
You did
all of
push
my emotions were very heightened,
Yeah.
and I had like a wee bit of a panic attack. Yeah. So like we don't get to choose when those happen, but I fully was like, I was normal and then I wasn't. And this happens to me like it's not often, but I'm like, oh, all of a sudden I'm like, oh God, there's people everywhere. I can feel them all touching me as they walk by. And I went to a concert. I went to Charlotte to see Ocean Alley. It's really cool. Anyway. It's not an old people band.
No, it's
actually
not.
young people like them too. And so I saw many generations of people there.
I'm sure they do.
No,
I'm
they're
just
good because they have, like,
not up on the trends.
Lies. You know every trend. Um,
Okay, I'm not up on the musical
I
trends.
don't know if they're, like, trending or trendy.
I am not up to date on music unless it pertains to
Beep. You can't say. Anyway, they're really good. And well, so I actually funny story, I did buy tickets to this show, um, during a rare occasion that I was drunk in the Whataburger drive-through at, like, 2 AM.
well,
So rare,
I
right?
was really wondering because earlier this week you were like, "Yeah, I'm free all
I'm
weekend." And
free.
then a few days later you were like, "I'm actually going to a concert in Charlotte that I forgot I bought tickets to." And I
I
was like,
didn't. Yeah. And I'm
"Oh."
glad that I was, like, actually looking at another concert. I was like, "Oh, I want to." I was like, "Didn't I buy tickets to something?" It was, like, the haziest vision of an instance I was, l like, purchasing something drunk in a fast food parking lot, and I was like, "Okay." So I actually had to look it up. Anyway, I discovered that I did buy them, and I was like, "Oh, this is in Charlotte." And so we went. Anyway, so I was at the concert, and I just became extremely overwhelmed by the peopling, and, like, no one was doing anything wrong.
It's just
It
like social
just
anxiety.
everyone's really different, and some people were being, like, really pushy. I felt the need to anyway, so I was just like I wasn't even crying I because of what was happening. I
Yeah.
was tearing up because I was like I was so mad that I was so bothered by it. I was like,
Yeah.
"What? I was a normal person just moments ago." And anyway, I'm fine. That w it could be anything, really. We never
Okay.
get to choose when it's gonna happen, okay?
We're fine, it's fine, everything's
Everything's
fine.
fine. That's the last
Yeah.
thing I cried about. Anyway, if you're still with us, please do please do continue to follow us and share on our socials, which is,
We are crying at the gym.
at We Are Crying at the Gym
Yeah.
for Instagram and TikTok.
Mhm.
Also, obviously, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to a podcast.
Yeah, you can subscribe, like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, I don't know, do all the things. That was so
Share
manic.
with
But
so random. For anyone who can relate or commiserate,
please
please do
share.
share.
Pass it along to your friends because 'cause we're there.
Let us know what you cry about. We just want to hear it. We want to know that we're not alone. Anyway,
Oh,
today, so purpose, fulfillment. Why is everyone soul searching? Why are we all asking ourselves at the ripe age of 27? What is
shut up.
what is the meaning of life?
Well,
Truly, everyone you
yeah.
talk to, it really doesn't matter if they're just starting, like finishing college or just starting their
They're
careers, deep in their careers.
35, 27, 18, 45.
70. People still don't know at times, like, what is this all about? Uh, what do you feel like you attach so all of your academic achievements and getting all of your degrees, the bar and being licensed in multiple states, do you feel like you attach your self-worth to your academic achievements and or career?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
That's what we call a setup. I knew the answer.
Because it's like, what else would it be?
Oh, no. Pause. We need to cry. When's the last time you cried? Right now. Damn. Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry. We're back. Brooke cried.
I cried a little bit. Well, and, like, I mean, like, genuinely, like, what else would it be? Which is so depressing,
We're gonna work on that.
actually. Yeah. We gotta unpack that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to digest there.
But
Um,
that's it is I'm, like, joking, but that's really common.
and
And
I
I'm not saying I have not felt that before either, and, like
and I feel like it's very cultural because, like, I mean, we live in a culture where it's, like, hustle culture, and so it's like, okay, you gotta crank out these achievements, and it's like, you're constantly pitted up against other people who are like, well, I mean, especially in law school, and also, like, I feel like I felt this when I was in college, but you're, like, next to these people, and they're like, "Oh, I've done this extra internship, and I've worked with this person, and I
Yeah.
have a 4.8," and, like, all these other things, then you're like, "Oh my god, if I wanna have my life together, I have to do all those things too."
Yeah,
Um,
it's like no one's when you meet someone or when you are going for some sort of I don't know, if you're, like, competing for something, it's never like, "Who are you?" It's like, "What do you do?" Or like, "What have you done?"
yeah.
I'm like, why don't you ask who I am? Which, I don't
Which
know, that might
honestly,
be a
like,
harder question now, but your credentials being just about, like, work and certifications, degrees,
mhm.
etcetera, is unfair, and how many people have you worked with who have really impressive things on paper that you're like, "Wow, that was not like,
And it's also like
it was
we're
kind
like
of a waste."
respectfully like you're a shit person. And
Yeah, like, "Who are you?" It's or like, "What do you do?" I'm like, first of all, I am a person
yeah.
who's lived many lives. I'm a person who's experienced a lot of trauma and,
I wish
have
I
been on my healing journey for a long time, and also I am nice and I'm kind and I'm funny and I'm kind of a good time, so hire me? And they're like,
you're like, I
"No."
personality. Just
Oh,
kidding.
yeah. They're like, "I have a really great personality." That's like, it's weird, it doesn't show.
But I feel like those things are like so ingrained with our culture and kind of like what we teach like the youth.
I remember actually, it's really sad. I remember being in college and I didn't have other than like my sister and assorted, like I had some really good like teachers and mentors in little segments through school, but I moved really often and we didn't have a lot of access to resources and things like that. My sisters were kind of like the ones like, oh, and then you'll go to school and then join this club and blah blah. But I remember being in college and even in certain school settings where you were in like the honors programs or with people who were really smart, had achieved a lot. And I just remember that's when I learned that I was not as good as them. They're like,
Mhm.
well, what have you done? Like, have you done this thing? And how many like what were your grades in this? And I'm like, I honestly, none of that. I was like, I have a work study job and I also do this and I blah blah blah. They're like, but what do you like what's on your like resume? And I'm like,
Yeah.
life experience? I
Like
don't know. I'm
nothing.
like, I know how to do a lot of weird things based on my childhood trauma,
Mhm.
but
But yeah, I don't
uh,
know. And it's
I
like
guess they
it
call
kind of
them soft skills
sucks.
now, but
True.
but they're underweighted.
We put so much weight on these things and like whether it be your grades or your major or your job and like what you're producing at your job because it's like okay what else do we attach it to when the reality is like there's so many other aspects of our life that like you can seek fulfillment from whether it's like family
Yeah, so like so many. You're like, I have so many to choose from. I can't even think. I can't even list them all. The list is too long. Damn. Okay, we're gonna work on that.
you
I
know
guess I would say like to start, like I guess that's why people feel like you're like, if I give up being a lawyer, I'm giving up who I am. And
yeah
that's just not true.
yeah
You just don't know who you are. That's like
and it's like
that's not that big a deal.
yeah, but it's also because we spent so much of our lives and so much of our time focusing on these things. So it's like, okay, like outside of that, who am I? And I'm like,
You really do need to journal. I
I
would
need
say
to
that
pick
to
it up.
anyone.
I
I
have my
know it
journal in
always feels
there.
like well, for me, I always felt like every time I tried to, I'm like, "I'll try to journal." And it always was like, even when I was like forcing it, I heard this too, like kind of just force yourself at first, or like
Yeah.
it's like when you kind of like fake certain things, I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. Like, you don't
Yeah.
I was like, so anyway, I like I like this
I like
today.
pie.
It literally my first like 20 journal entries was like, I like pickles and the sun came up today.
Her dog pickles.
And oh, yes, my dog. Well, I also like pickles. I
The
also
food
like
group.
pickles. Um, but okay, this is my stance on journaling. It feels remember how when you were learning butterfly pull-ups, I was like, it
Yeah.
feels really bad. Like you feel like, wow, I'm not even kind of doing this right. And then all of a sudden it clicks and then you just do them. This is how I feel about journaling because I the whole time I was, like, doing it, I don't remember it feeling like, uh, it was gonna, like, give me anything. I was like, "Okay, I guess it felt good to write that
Yeah.
down," and it does help me process, but at first it just felt like, just a thing I was doing, and then I went back and read those entries, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so wise." Or,
Oh,
like, I, like,
interesting.
learned so much later on. It helps you, like, remember who you are because, like, if you're just writing that stuff, you're not writing fiction.
No, yeah.
You're not.
It's
And
your life.
if you're writing for someone else, you have to like probably figure out why you're doing that. And hopefully no one's reading your journal. I'm always like, I leave that thing out. I feel like that's a them problem. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's at your own risk. You don't want to read that, trust me.
That's a liability.
Yeah. But I would challenge anyone who is where you're at in
Yeah.
terms of like, what do I even
Like, and I mean,
like, before you're
yeah.
forced into it, like I was, traumatically, this is how I've learned
Yeah.
everything. Like, or how I've learned anything.
I feel like it dates back to like even when we're younger and like the whole soul focus, like everyone asked, even like 8-year-olds or like younger, was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up?"
We
And
still
it's not
ask.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's also like not like who do you want to be as a person? What kind of person do you want to be? Like what kind of values do
Right.
you have?
That's why I feel like it's backwards. It's like, not
Yeah.
like, what do you wanna do in this life? How do you want your life to be? Like, that's not a question anyone's asking. Remember the, like well, I don't know if you guys did this, but there were aptitude tests. And
Yes.
I don't remember the questions entirely, but some of them were like, "What do you like to wear?" I remember it being that, like, they probably updated it, hopefully, since I took it, but I remember being really disappointed in the result because I said I like to wear comfortable clothes, but I also was into the, like, more, like, law enforcement or, like, lawyer type. Am I boring you? This I
I was trying to hide it so hard.
But every time I took it, I was like, "Do I have to manipulate the why can't I wear comfortable clothes and be a professional?" And that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's like
millennials suspected, or I did anyway, I can't speak for everyone. I was like, "I suspect it doesn't have to be that way."
that
And then
black
y'all
and
came
white.
along and
Yeah.
we're like, we're not doing that." And what, Gen Alpha is after Gen Z. That's my
Whoa.
nephew. That's the
That's
only reason I know that.
scary.
My sister always sends, like, what the kids are saying these days, and we're like, "Wow, we know new information." Um, but I yeah, the way people just help you decide what you're gonna do does not have much to do with, like, your values, or which
It
you might not even know yet, or you're still, like, developing and learning.
and it's like it also like solely has to do with like your performance in school and like what you were good at, what you weren't good at. And it's like if you were like got A's and stuff like that, that you were like on the track to go to like professional school and like grad school. But it's like for why? Other
Yeah.
than the fact that like, okay, I was a good student. What does that doesn't mean anything about
Right.
like how I want to live the rest of my life. So it's
Right.
just like,
And there was not any attention that I knew of that was measuring character, integrity, ethics, morals, like, the whole I don't know, the crossroads I felt I was at,
yeah,
and I essentially did everything I wanted to do, and I studied, I went to school, I got a master's, I got a job, I got a good job. I worked up the, professional ladder to the top and had the big, like, Santa Claus isn't real moment. I was
yeah,
just, this is not what I thought it would be. The job, yes. How it made me feel, no.
yeah.
And a lot of that had to do probably not with the work. I think the work could have been more fulfilling if all of the other elements that nobody told us about
Well, and feel like there's so
were
many
there.
factors that you don't realize, right? Like, I feel like growing up, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this because I wanna help people. And it's actually so funny. So I was like going through a bunch of my old stuff and I found a letter I wrote to myself that one of my high school teachers sent to us when I graduated
That's rough.
college. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even read something I post from 3 weeks ago. I'm like, "Oh, she's so dope."
It was like,
I'm
well,
so embarrassed of her.
see, I wasn't even it wasn't even like
Or
that. I was
sad.
like,
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah. I was like, oh my
"Oh,
God.
she had so much hope."
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
she had she was optimistic. Was she naive? Maybe. But I also feel like no, because I feel like there is a path for that. But like she was like, "Oh, I want to help people. I want to teach others, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Man, she had such a light." And I'm like, "Oh, I thought I was doing all the things to get to that, like, to achieve those goals, and
Yeah.
it's like, you get to a certain point and you're like, maybe that's not."
Well, you're also told that there are just like a finite amount of ways that you can accomplish that. And they're
Yeah.
not even, it's not to say you're not doing that in your job, but you're like, there are other ways I can probably get more of that without all the stuff I actually don't want.
Yeah.
And nobody taught us how to discern what you don't want other than like like safety things. But
Yeah.
in terms of happiness and purpose and your goals and your career, it wasn't
Well, I feel like there's such a narrative that, like, oh, like, I mean, everyone hates their job to an extent, but, there's,
yeah, it's a
like,
grin and
whatever.
bear it. It's like
Yeah.
that's just what it is. Like nobody wants to get up and go to work and do that. Stop trying to make it cushy. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the mechanism, or it's supposed to be the thing that funds your lifestyle outside of work. So when like when we were first talking about work-life balance, I'm like, why do we even have to balance those things? Like we have to like that means one is down. We have to like
Yeah.
level it with something else versus like how do we just make it always like this
Yeah.
without having to like I think that adds to the pressure of like your commitment to the chosen career path because you're like, well, I still need money to do the things I actually want to do. But it's
Well,
backwards,
yeah, and it's
I
also,
guess.
like, instead of finding out, like, "Oh, what are you passionate about?" It's like, "Oh, here is a list of majors, and, like, this is generally what that field deals with." So it's like, what box do you wanna put yourself under? Whereas,
Yeah.
like, it could be interdisciplinary.
I also feel like once you're in it, you've decided at the wrong age, the wrong place, space, and time with limited information what you're going to do with your life. You get there, you're doing the thing, and you might suspect or know for sure it's not it. You're like, this is not it. This is not what I want to do. It's not how I want to spend my life. But at that point, you've invested so much in being there
Yeah.
and all these other, not just that, but all these things start to weigh into your decision making of whether you're going to stay there or not. Do you have a family to support? Do you have financial obligations? Are you feeding off external validation for a certain title you hold, right? Like, oh,
Mhm.
you're a lawyer. That's amazing. If you were like, I'm a
Yeah.
podcaster and a dog walker, people be like, oh, okay. But like, and
Literally.
like, but I'm like, people only say that because they're like, damn, I'm jealous. Because somehow that seems like it's working for you. But they're like, it's like you get in too deep. It's literally, it's so
Well,
similar to like relationships too, where you're like, oh, this snowballed. And now like when people like stay together for their families and things like that, you're like, oh, like you've just invested a
yeah.
lot. So it's hard to let go because
Well,
you've
it's like,
attached so much of
yeah.
yourself to it.
Well, it's like the 10,000 hours, like, idea, right? Like, I mean, I read that book when I was in college, like, I know so many people did. But it's like, like, in order to, like, for those of you who don't know, um, Outliers, a book by I can't remember who. Great book. But there's like this idea of like you spend 10,000 hours and like that's when you're like considered an expert. So it's like everyone's focused on like obtaining those 10,000 hours. So once you get that and then you're like so deeply involved and entangled, it's like, "Oh, do you really wanna spend another 10,000 hours, like, going down another path?" When, like, reality is the experience you got thus far should carry into something else if you decide to pivot or whatever, but people are so, like, ingrained and I feel, like, complacent and just like, I worked so hard to get here. I've spent all this money. I went to grad school. I got a doctorate degree. I, like, have hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, so
Yeah.
now I'm here. I'm like,
Not to get all woo woo, but to get a little woo woo. Like everything that we measure is based on whatever someone told us to measure. But I feel like it's gotten to a point, it's pretty evident that we don't even know how to think or feel about like how many podcasts or books are there about. I've read most of them and listened to all of them about like how to find yourself and what you want, what like how like all the soul searching stuff and all the like what do you want to be when you grow up even though you're a grown up. I'm just like, it's because everything that was shoved down our throat or we were told was like an expectation or some sort of metric or marker that we should meet, we might have even gotten there and then we're just like, oh,
Okay, now what?
now what?
Well, and it, like, again, it starts in elementary school, middle school, high school. It's like, okay, you are quite literally like your value is related to your grades and like your teachers. Respectfully, I love my teachers. They're great. But like your teachers, your parents, those
They were
around
just
you,
doing their
like,
best too.
yeah, no, they
Like
were, but like,
with the information they had.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like your value is measured based on your grades, and I feel like a lot of people like latch onto that, and you're like, oh my god, if I could just get one more A or like get this many more honors classes and AP classes,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna be where I'm at, and it's like the same thing then like translates into secondary education where it's like if I can get through undergrad, I'll be like whatever. And then it's like, if I can get my master's, or like, and then it's like, if I can get my doctorate. And then when you
Yeah.
get into the real world, it's like, okay, if I can produce X amount for my employer. And it's like, when does it end?
It doesn't. And it's like, but that will only like, it doesn't with that model. It's like the extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation, right? Because everything that we learned was more the extrinsic and the intrinsic, we're not even like tapped into what I remember journaling about this, like
I need to start,
all
man.
my like career crises are like, I'm just like, something is not sitting, like something is not settling. I don't know why. Like I have like the job I want. There were a lot of factors that made me feel like I wanted to be in that field. And I would journal and be like, what am I missing? I'm like, I feel like I'm not free. Like, what would I even do though? Like, what would I even want to do? And the fact that like those are still big questions for me at my age, I'm just like, I, and I think I know how to think. This sounds so dumb, but it's like, when is the last time you just sat there and you were just like, removed every other like motivator aside and you were just like, what would I do with my life?
Well, and I don't think I know how because I'm always like, like
So
genuinely
here,
like
this is a start. Literally.
no, literally, like I feel like I'm always looking at others, like, oh, what should I do? Which house should I buy? What colors should I paint my house?
Oh
And
yeah.
just like stupid shit like that. Whereas like if I can't even make those decisions in my personal life, how am I supposed to make a career decision or
Yeah.
like a decision that I mean, like
Well, and for
actually
even the
matters?
way you
Yeah.
like separate those things is the whole point too. It's like, no, it's like career and your work life and then separate. Like, do I believe in boundaries? Hell yeah. But do I think like you need to be like, that's just that life and that's that. Like, it should be like, this is just one life and where I exercise my like creativity is here. My like right side of my brain or my left side of the brain is here, 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 and here. But the to your point of like, I don't even know. I think it's not counted.
Sorry.
Sorry. But the point being, if you don't know even how to think about it, you're just gonna
Yeah.
follow whatever's available.
And
One of my favorite things to do.
And also like the safe choice to a degree. Like, I mean, I feel
Oh,
like there's a
true.
lot of like comfort with the devil you know versus the devil you don't know.
True. You
But
can live a life that is fine. Like making all the same choices. If you make all the safe choices, yeah, you might have like a safe life, but you can't guarantee it's gonna be fulfilling. So that's not really safe. Like,
no, and it like gets to the point where you're just like, okay, I'm living for the weekend, and like that's not sustainable.
it also puts a lot of pressure on everything outside of work. That's why relationships fail. That's why people are like, oh, this isn't like I just wasted my whole weekend on this thing. And that's not even what I wanted to do. It's because there's so much pressure because, like, this is the only time I have to be fun.
Yeah, no, and it's like,
Yeah.
but it's also like you get to a certain point of just like living for the weekend, and then it's like, okay, when you actually get to the weekend, you're just so drained from the week you've had. It's like you have there's there's gotta be another way because it's like you can't just live for the weekend because it's
Yeah.
like you can't do everything in those 48 hours. You only get 48 hours. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and tell anyone to like thwart their whole lives and just like throw it all away. But at the same time, I think like with some reflection. It's always good to check back in and kind of look at the big picture. Look at like where you want to go, how you want your life to look like, who you want to be around you throughout your life, and like
Yeah.
kind of how you want to spend your days and like
Yeah.
make decisions based on that.
It's like start over, but putting the like not what do you want to do for work as the first thing.
Just like reframing your
And
mindset.
not like
Yeah.
how do I want to make money? Yes, of course we need money. But like you said, like how do I want to feel? How do I want to spend my day? How do I want to what kind of impact do I want to leave on people or the
Hmm.
world? And these are not easy questions, and we're certainly not trained up to think about them and let them drive us
No.
because people act like you're crazy when you're like just following your heart.
No, but
But
it is also something I've been trying to do a lot lately because I feel like I was going in a period of just, like, going through the motions, but I, like, have really tried to take the time to be like, "Okay, like, what do I want my life to look like?" And I honestly feel like in just doing that, I have, like, noticed changes in my mood as I'm crying at the gym still. But
okay, happy people cry and
But, like, I feel like I have noticed changes in my perspective, what I'm doing to kind of meet those goals and,
yeah.
like, that kinda thing, so
Yeah, another cliche. It's definitely like just your attitude on life. It like
yeah,
how you see things is how, like what your reality
yeah,
is, right? So,
and it's also
and if you're a healthy person, that's a good thing.
but it's
um,
also, like, again, we now have new information, and you're not gonna know until you, like, try.
well, yeah, I mean, step one, you don't want to be reckless and just like, okay, this isn't it. So I'm just going to like surrender all of the things that I know and do at this moment. But step one is the hardest one is like figuring out who you are, what you want. That is, you can't say that. So like, all right, just do that. And then, but that is, it just took me, and I still don't know. And I have so much information
When
that
will we know? We'll never know.
but and to that point, it is just as useful to determine and figure out and reflect on what you don't want and stop forcing it.
We're just a couple of girlies in some high stress, male dominated fields trying to figure it out.
It's almost worse to know that this ain't it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like part of me, I don't really wish this, but part of me is like jealous of those who are not so aware that there's more to life. I haven't figured out how to, like, accomplish that completely, but I'm mad I know
Yeah, I'm like, I'd
that there's
rather
more and I don't have that yet.
but it's also like, would you rather, like, just, like, know something's off, but not have any idea of, like, how to fix it? Or would you rather know you're making a change and, like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but, like
No, I love being chaotic and sad and happy and
yeah,
figuring it
exactly.
out. It's like my whole
So,
thing.
that is our brand.
I'm like, this is all these, like, recommendations I have. I'm like, "Do this," and then but don't be like me, but that's what I did. But I no, I am like that's the whole thing. It's fluid. It's not like you don't arrive the same as you were saying, like, I'll just get to here and then I'll be happy and then I'll just get to here. It's always going to change. So it's just changing the way that you approach life. Are you constantly thinking about whether something makes you happy or serves you or provides value to you? Or are you just kind of going through motions? Or are you the type of person who has committed to something and says, I've committed, so I'm doing this forever? No matter what.
That's crazy. I just damn, that's crazy. Could you imagine, like, just living every day and, like
I mean, a lot of people
I
do.
know.
It is sad. You know what? People think we're sad. That's sad. That's sad. Not crying is sad.
Well, and it's also just,
Like,
like, you
meaning
also
like
have
you don't have anything that like you feel that passionately about.
but also you have to be in, like, in tune with your emotions and, like, whether it's good emotions or I mean, not even, like not to label
Oh
it like
yeah,
that.
sitting with yourself and emotions, that's hard.
Yeah. Like, it is hard, but, like, you have to
Yeah.
be aware of, like, the things that make you happy, the things that make you fulfilled, the things that, make you sad and make you anxious and, like, all the things. Mm.
It's not glamorous work,
What's that kids
I have
movie?
to say. Oh, oh my gosh, yeah, Inside
About all the
Out?
emotions?
Inside Out?
Yeah.
Okay, I always make reference to that movie of this time in my life that I'm ominously just, like, referencing, but, like, when I was going through a hard, big, bad breakup, divorce, and all, and my life changing after a lot of other really hard things happening too. I felt like at certain points, even before that, there were points where I felt like all my little islands went down, like in Inside Out. That's
Oh, I've actually never seen the movie.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, "What do you mean your
Okay,
island?"
well, I know
Sorry.
our listener has our listener, my mom, has seen that movie, and there's all the little, like, there's, like, the sports, like, the things that fulfill the main
Okay.
character. You're gonna watch this.
Okay. I feel like I need
I
to.
think you needed to watch this before this. Your whole life would have changed. Your life's gonna change from this Pixar movie. But there's like Family Island, there's like her sports, she plays hockey island, then there's like whatever, the things that fulfill her and bring her joy. And every time like she's like one of them goes away, like she moves and goes to another school, so her friend's island goes down. Yeah. And then with like anyway, I felt that way, like all my islands went down at one point, like
Oh, that's so
I couldn't work
interesting.
out because I was unable to like go to the gym for a
Yeah.
period of time. Like I had surgery and all this stuff. And so CrossFit Island was down, weightlifting down, and then things were in shambles at work. So work down, relationships slicey dicey, that went down. When all my islands went down, I was like, what do I have left? And that forces you to figure out like,
Interesting.
what even do you have if all the things that you're, like, grasping at to make you feel
Yeah.
something aren't there? You're just stuck with yourself, and it is awful. I
I feel like
don't
that would be
wish it
so
upon
humbling.
anyone, but it's so necessary for
Yeah.
everyone, and that's all I got to say about that.
I think something that's like quite easy to do, whether it be like through journaling or just like internal check-ins, it's just like whether it be weekly or like daily or whatever. Anything something happens, check in with yourself. How did it make me feel? Is it good? Is it bad?
I would say also when you get to a point, because we have all been there, I feel like that is the majority of my interactions, even just quickly with people at the gym or wherever in the little bit of time we have throughout our day, is knowing what you absolutely don't like and don't want.
Yeah.
And go, that's easy to start with in your journal. You're like, I don't like this.
Well,
I don't want this. And then
like
get deeper into it,
non-negotiables,
like
yeah.
for the sake of like figuring out what you want
Mhm.
and purpose and what you're actually working towards. It One, like pay attention to how you feel about things. Don't just go through motions. That is so easy to do. And if you're not taking the time to journal or reflect or actually think about it or sit with the feelings and figure out why you feel them,
Yeah.
it's going to be really hard to figure out what the next steps are to determining how you want to live your life.
And also just being intentional with it, because I think, like, one of the things that when I, like, noticed I was just going through the motions, I was started to be more intentional about, like, making friends and,
Yeah.
like, just, like,
Yeah.
silly things, but, like, you gotta be intentional with it, because otherwise you're just
Yeah. My one piece of advice is mind your business. Mind your own business. Like literally mind your business. And I don't mean that like don't mind mine. I mean like, what about you? Like pay attention to
Yeah.
yourself, your life. Like that is like also very much open to suggestions because obviously very evident we
We're
don't have it all figured out.
we're working out the
I
kinks.
will
Also, this is a journey.
I am a career figuring it outer. I I will not be I will never rest at this. I know it'll always be like, "Huh." And I hope to just be more proactive about it instead of being shoved into these like moments of like, "Oh God, I really have to figure it out." But we want to hear about what you do to stay on track, get on track.
Yeah.
Something that has helped you. Maybe it's not journaling. Maybe you have ideas that could be for us that we could share among everyone because that's kind of the reason we're here, trying to build a community of just bouncing these ideas off of each other and trying to be like, do you know what life is all about? Have you
Does
gone through
anyone
this? Because we know what it ain't. We know what it's not.
know? Yeah.
So if you want to DM us or
Find us on socials, Instagram, TikTok at We Are Crying at the Gym. You can also like subscribe
like,
all the
subscribe,
things
share,
on your podcast platforms. But
and bear with us as we work the kinks out.
yeah.
We'll see you next time. You can catch us crying at the gym. For me, sometimes crying at home because I'm injured perpetually.
Yeah. Yeah.